Hi everyone, and welcome to an episode of Jabba in in the Hut. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm shit at playing the drums. I don't know why I try. Um, the cup is in relation to Ghostbusters coming out this weekend, which I'm going to see. I'm going to see it on Sunday. So yeah, I can't wait for that. Yes, but apart from that, that movie I will talk about in due haste. But right now, the movie that I want to talk about is a movie that I kind of watched last week. Not kind of watched, I watched it. And yeah, you might remember this movie. And if you do, then you absolutely know what I'm talking about. But the movie that I'm going to mention is a Stephen King masterpiece. It's one of his best films that I've seen. You may have heard me talk about Green Mile a wee while ago. You know, I maybe mentioned it and stuff like that. I never really talked about it. But yeah, I was talking to my friends about Stephen King and how much I admire him and how much I love his stuff. And I says to myself, do you know what? I'm going to watch Shawshank Redemption. Because I know it's meant to be like, obviously, he's a big kind of horror enthusiast with The Shining, and obviously like The Green Mile and It, obviously Pennywise. But to me, I think his writings of The Shawshank Redemption were quite good. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I've read the book, don't get me wrong. I've watched the film till death, and it's just one of those feel-good films that you watch because you know it's going to make you go, aye, all right, that was good. So yeah, if you're tuning in and you just happen to be like looking for somebody to talk about the Shawshank Redemption, then the film, I've watched it. It's been great. If you don't want to know spoilers, then please do not watch this video because you'll get spoilers, and I'll try and do it in the best Scottish way possible, and that's to tell you how the film goes. So yeah, basically the film is set around a banker called Andy Dufresne, who is played by Tim Robbins, and what happens is this film was made in 1994, by the way, so it was a good time for movies coming out. I can't give you anything that came out, obviously, because I don't really research stuff. But yeah, 1994, the film came out, so it's a bit of a classic. So the people that have been, born in the 1990s probably won't even really have heard of it. So yeah, it starts off with a character called Andy Dufresne, and Andy Dufresne is a banker who has basically been accused of killing his wife and her partner that she was cheating on him with. And it's meant to be the most gruesome of deaths, of many bullets flying into her and into her so-called partner at the time, her boyfriend even. So he's in the courtroom and he's obviously getting accused, and they're calling him all sorts of things. They say he's the most evilest guy that they've ever seen in life. I find that hardly impossible because it's obviously it's Stephen King that wrote the book, and he has to make it sound like, oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. So basically what happens is he gets life, I think it's like 3 sentences of life, which is literally you're not getting to come out ever. And he basically realises this, and he has to go to jail. So in prison he meets up with a man called Red, who is a convict, just like himself. He's a prisoner like himself, and he's a straight and narrow guy. He doesn't like the hassle or anything like that. What I like about the movie is, like, most of the characters in the prison don't really seem like they belong there. It's like one of those things. It's like that they generally seem like nice guys, but the people that he hangs about with, obviously within time, they all get parole and start disappearing, or they die in prison and stuff like that. You know, but they're generally, obviously they've done something bad, so they're in there for the bad thing that they've done. But it seems to be like all of them have got really really bad sentences, and it's literally one of these things where it's the justice system at that point is really really bad, you know, and they're giving these people the sentences. I mean, don't get me wrong, they could be like child murderers or something like that. It's not explained in the movie. I probably need to read the book for that. But yeah, they are literally. It seems like the justice system is a little bit broken, a little bit, and as the film goes on, you kind of make sense of that, with how the prison is run. So yeah, he meets up with this guy called Red, who's played by Morgan Freeman. The performance of Morgan Freeman is fantastic, but he literally plays a narrator in this film, and he goes through all the different things about Andy Dufresne and how he met him, and you know that he thought he was a short streaky piss. There is a scene in the movie that kind of gets me welled up a wee bit, and it's the start of the movie where they're basically fishing, and it's all the prisoners are basically fishing for this fat guy, or the new prisoners that have came in. So Red makes a deal to say, yeah, I think it's going to be Andy Dufresne, but on the first night, Andy Dufresne doesn't even mouse fart in it, you know what I mean? And you know, they beat like this fat kind of Italian mummy's boy, and you know he absolutely gets battered off. I can't remember the guy's name. I think he plays Highlander basically. He plays the villain in Highlander. You know, but he's really really rough in this as well, and he's such a bastard. But he absolutely batters the guy. And it's quite a hard watch, to be honest. You know, it makes you kind of think to yourself like, oof, that was uncalled for. You know, like that they really didn't need to do that. But they did to aspect how serious the film was. And that was literally about 10 minutes into the movie. Fantastic, 10 or 15 minutes. So yeah, and Andy Dufresne ends up not saying a peep, and that's how Red literally knows that, okay, he's not going to be a little bit of a pushover then, you know, showing a little bit of interest but not too much interest. So yeah, it gets to the point of that, and obviously the movie, as the movie drifts on and on and on, he gets friendships, and with the other guys because they're tarring the roof. This scene is a fantastic. This is probably my favourite scene because it shows that people are human, and it shows that they're not as scary as you think they are. And I think in this scene, it makes for good watching. It kind of makes you go, well done. And it's they're tarring Andy Dufresne and Red, and you know the group that they're with. They get to tar the roof of the prison in one of the blocks. So they do that, and Andy Dufresne hears the absolute bastard what do you call them? Warden's henchman, basically saying that he's got 35k in the bank, but the government's going to take it. So after listening into this, Andy Dufresne slowly approaches him, and they all kick up a fuss. So he grabs him and he's going to fling him off the side of the prison. This is how crazy this guy is, and this is how corrupt the film can be, because at the end of the day, you think, well, if they can just chuck prisoners the other side and then not even a whiff of what the fuck happened gets asked, then just think about what else they can do. As the film explains near enough at the end. Anyway, so we get to a point where, you know, he does a good thing. He says, look, you can keep that 35k if you give it to your wife. And he says, what do you mean, give it to my wife? Why would the fuck would I give it to my wife? And he says, well, the IRS, you know, approve a gift from their spouses of money to up to $60,000. And the guy goes, and he says, all I ask for is 3 beers apiece between me and my co-workers. Which they laugh. But at the end of the day, he sets it up and it works and they get the beers. and they all just become friends. And it's one of those scenes where just when you think you're lost, you find a little bit of light in something that you do, and it just makes you feel so much better, and so much like a human, not like a bad bastard, but just like a normal person again. And if you watch the movie, that's basically explained by Red. He says, I think he just did it just to feel normal again. And it's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct, because Andy Dufresne is a fantastic character in this movie. So yeah, it comes to a point where we're getting closer and closer into the middle section. Andy Dufresne starts getting a little bit bullied off the sisters, who are a bunch of guys who basically just want to pump guys. So Andy Dufresne has to go through beatings. He has to go through, maybe some rape sometimes. But this is, as well, was quite hard to watch, because it's quite an ordeal, and it basically sets you up for what's going to happen at the end. He just literally puts up with so much shit. But he just keeps going. He just keeps going and going and going and going and going. He's a tough guy. But if you looked at him from the outside, you would just think, no, he's a strong piece of piss, or a strong, strain of piss. So yeah, it gets to that point where obviously the guards, they hear about what's happening, they wait for him, and because he's doing so much great work for the guards and helping them with their taxis and stuff like that and their accounts, they literally beat the hell out of the main guy for the sisters. I think it's Dogs or something like that, but he's an absolute arsehole. So you generally feel for Andy Dufresne. From that point on, he gets to a point where he gets more and more popular with the accounts. He gets more and more popular with the warden. He starts doing taxis for the warden, and it just kind of gets you into how corrupt the place is, how corrupt Shawshank is. And it's just one of those, like, you get into it and you are like, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on here? So yeah, it gets to a point where literally he gets a library built. I'm sorry if I'm not explaining this to the full pelt of my expertise, but I'm not an expert. I'm just telling you how I watched the film. That's it. So yeah, he gets to a point where he builds a library and helps all the prisoners pass their GCSEs and stuff like that. I don't know if that's right, but it's like their higher English or their higher maths and stuff like that. Stuff that the prisoners can't really pass, because they were straight in prisons or jail or UVs since they were like probably 14, 15, with how much the justice system just goes like that. It's like, if you've done something bad, you're going straight to prison. They absolutely filled these prisons with all the delinquents you could find. So yeah, he ends up teaching this person who has no idea. He's been in and out of prison since he was like 12. So his education is literally bar none. So he puts him through his standard grade assessments, basically, in a grade of Scotland, and it's all cats climbing up trees and stuff like that, and nouns, and how to count to basically 20, and how to times by 2 and all that kind of thing. So Andy Dufresne puts all his effort into him, and then eventually, because the guy's been in and out of prison, he shared cells with the most terrible people who just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. So literally, this guy tells Red, after he has a mad flip out, he says, "Oh, I feel really bad. I've let him down," and all that kind of thing. And Red goes, No, bullshit. He says, "You've not let him down." He says, "He's proud of you." And at that point, he tells him a story about how there was this guy, and he was in prison with him, and he says he killed this woman, or this wife, this golf pro, this wife and her golf pro boyfriend, in this motel one day. So then Red tells Dufresne and gets everybody around the table, and he basically tells him a story. And Dufresne is completely shocked. He's like, this could be my ticket out here. So he goes straight to the warden, tells him, the warden basically says, this ain't happening, you're too important in here now, we need to teach you a lesson. And they put him in solitary confinement for like a month, and then they put him in for another month because the warden's just a complete arsehole. And then at that point you're just like, alright, cool. But Andy looks like he's completely lost it. But there's a secret. Andy is doing life. So he's literally got years and years of time to be doing other things, and he can't keep still. He needs to keep going, he needs to keep progressing, he needs to keep doing stuff that's not going to make him stark crazy. So, comes to a point where they interview the boy gets killed, Andy Dufresne does solitary time. Sorry, I missed that bit out. So Andy Dufresne is literally, there's no evidence, there's no witness to say that he didn't do it. You know, it's that his time to basically get out of prison is done. It's absolutely dead in the water. So it comes to a point where he just looks fed up and he looks like he's going to do something. But then the next day he goes to he does the accounts for the warden. Then the next day the warden goes to his cell. Can't find him. He's disappeared. Like a fart in the wind. That is by far one of my favourite lines in a movie. He up and vanished like a fart in the wind. Like, you know, like that kind of thing. Like, it's brilliant, it's fantastic. But yeah, so they're looking about for him, but they see a poster of Rita Hayworth. And this comes back to the book as well. Like, if you do read the book, it's from a book, and that's what it says, Rita Hayworth in the Shawshank Redemption. You know, it's I might buy it actually just to read it, just to see what's going on, because, you know, I should have read the book first before I watched the movie, but unfortunately at that time I didn't really care. I just liked watching movies. So yeah, they peel away the poster, and there is a big shining hole. He literally dug a hole with a rock hammer that he was using to make chess pieces. That was the first interaction with Red, and that is what started this story and what basically made it so great. And it literally shows you a montage of him escaping, and it's just so sweet, like how he goes through about 20 miles of shit, crawls through, well, you know, it could be 15 miles or 20 miles, which is like, I don't know, 4 football pitches or something like that, 4 American football pitches, 5 maybe, to just get to the end of that shining light and basically escapes. He goes to the bank, he takes all of Warden's money, he posts to the papers saying that the Shawshank prison is corrupt, and they've been dwelling and taking money, and you know, like they've been getting done for tax fraud. Basically, they're going to end up in prison. So what happens is the warden puts a bullet through his head, and you know, the badass henchman, the Highlander guy, he basically just gets arrested as well and sobs all the way there apparently. Then it comes to a point where, you know, he sent a postcard to Red, so he's escaped, he's gone, but he sends a postcard to Red with basically instructions on how to find him. Red gets parole, goes and finds him, and they live happily ever after. It's just like that. I could go into more detail about the ending, but you need to just watch the film. Even if you've been watching this and it's spoiled it, it's still a film to watch, to be honest. You need to go and watch it. So yeah, if you're bored, you're in at the weekend, you know, you're not doing anything, you're not going out to the pubs and doing karaoke or, you know, watching the football or anything like that. This is why I'm making this video today, because, you know, it's international football, and am I fuck watching England. I watched Scotland yesterday, and it was, it was decent, but at the same time we lost, and that was a shame. So yeah, sorry if I've rambled on. That's been about 20 minutes. Yeah, just have a great time this weekend, and if you're not doing anything, and if you're skint, just try and find it. Try and find Shawshank Redemption. Ask your mums, ask your dads, ask your uncles about it. They'll know what you're talking about, and that kind of thing. But anyway, look, listen, remember, doing something means everything, and take care of yourselves. Alright?